In January 2026, the world gathered once again in the snow-covered mountains of Davos. Presidents, prime ministers, CEOs, central bankers, all smiling, all shaking hands, all pretending that the world still runs on rules. But beneath the polite applause and carefully scripted panels, something far darker was unfolding. This was not a debate about climate, not a debate about trade, not even a debate about Greenland. What happened at Davos 2026 was a stress test, a direct collision between two world orders, one clinging desperately to laws, legitimacy, and treaties, the other operating on a brutal new logic, geo-economic leverage. And at the center of it all stood Donald Trump. Act 1. Europe and the last defense of the old rulebook. For Europe, Davos was familiar ground. President Emmanuel Macron spoke of sovereignty, of international law, of a world that must not descend into chaos where might makes right. Ursula von der Leyen echoed the same warning. She criticized the idea that tariffs could be used as a weapon, especially against allies. She condemned the suggestion that economic pressure could be used to force the sale of territory. To Europe, the message was simple. Greenland is not for sale. Allies don't blackmail allies. Trade, security, and sovereignty must remain separate. This was the language of the rules-based order, the world built after World War II, where power was constrained by institutions, norms, and legal frameworks. But the problem was brutal and unavoidable. That world no longer exists. Act 2. Trump and the logic of power. Donald Trump did not reject Europe's arguments. He ignored them. Because in Trump's worldview, the board itself had changed. Sovereignty, security, and trade were no longer separate domains. They were pressure points in a single system. Tariffs were not just economic tools. They were instruments of security policy. Security guarantees were not moral commitments. They were bargaining chips. And alliances were not sacred. They were conditional. Trump's strategy was simple and terrifyingly effective. Use trade pressure to reshape security behavior. Use security dependence to redirect trade flows. This was not diplomacy. This was leverage. And Greenland was the perfect test case. Act 3. Greenland is not an island. It's a choke point. At Davos, the Greenland story stripped away every illusion. This was never about real estate. It was about control. Control of the Arctic, control of future shipping lanes, control of rare earth minerals, control of industrial infrastructure. As the ice melts, new maritime arteries are opening across the Arctic. Routes that can cut weeks off global trade. Routes that can be closed or opened during crisis. Whoever controls Greenland controls the northern gates of the world economy. But that's only the surface. Act 4. The 4 battles hidden inside Greenland. First, law. Who writes the rules in the Arctic when the ice disappears? International law or whoever controls the geography? Second, growth. Trade has now been openly weaponized, not against enemies, but among allies. The taboo is gone. Third, technology. Greenland is prime territory for undersea cables, satellite ground stations, autonomous systems, and Arctic surveillance. Control Greenland and you control the nervous system of the far north. Fourth, climate. Climate change is no longer just a scientific issue. It is a geopolitical accelerant. Melting ice doesn't just raise sea levels, it redraws maps. And in moments of crisis, someone will decide who gets access to those new northern arteries. That someone wants to be the United States. Act 5. The real question Davos couldn't answer. The real question was never, will Trump buy Greenland? The real question was, how does the world negotiate power now? Because the old textbooks are gone. Diplomacy is no longer about joint statements and shared values. It's about economic pressure, territorial control, and strategic choke points. Geography is destiny again. Resources are weapons again. And leverage beats legitimacy. Act 6. The Red Giant Phase. America's behavior makes sense if you understand one thing. The United States is entering the late stage of a red giant star. In its final phase, a red giant expands violently, pulling in, absorbing, or destabilizing everything in its orbit. Greenland, Canada, the Arctic. This is not madness. It is strategy under climate reality. The future battlefield is cold, resource-rich, and strategically exposed. And the United States intends to dominate it not through permission, but through pressure. Final. The New World Order has no rulebook. Davos 2026 made one thing brutally clear. The world is no longer negotiating values. It is negotiating leverage. The rules-based order wasn't defeated in a war. It was quietly abandoned in a conference hall. And the Greenland confrontation was just the opening move. The question is no longer who is right. The question is who controls the choke points when the system breaks.